Brad Raffensperger had a conversation with Lindsey Graham, the infamous Lindsey Graham, and David has got the story. I'm going to throw it to David. What the guam, Brad?
All right. So, the Georgia Secretary, I'll just start off again. Brad Raffensperger is the Georgia Secretary of State. He was previously the one that wanted to do the hand count audit of all of the Georgia ballots, of the 5 million ballots, because of the small discrepancy which required a recount anyway. And he just decided to make it into a full audit. Part of this was because there have been claims that the Dominion voting system, which was used in Georgia, and it was also used in the mistaken county election in Michigan. It's a Colorado-based manufacturer of Georgia's voting machines. Almost all of Georgia's voting machines come from it. And Lindsey Graham claimed it's a leftist company with ties to Venezuela, and it engineered thousands of Trump votes to be left out of the count. Raffensperger has gone on to say that he's been getting a lot of pushback from this, and both he and his wife, Tricia, have received death threats, including one that was, "You better not botch this recount. Your life depends on it." And Raffensperger, about the threats, said, "Other than getting you angry, it's also very disillusioning, particularly when it comes from people on my side of the aisle. Everyone that is working on this needs to elevate their speech. We need to be thoughtful and careful about what we say." And he also reported the threats to the state authorities. So other people within Georgia Republican group, specifically Representative Douglas A. Collins, called Raffensperger a liar and a charlatan. Both of them are Republicans, mind you, and Raffensperger, the recount was pushed heavily by Raffensperger against the desires of Democrats. So he's getting kind of heat from both sides and trying to be a little, I guess, fair here, and trying to have a hand recount but not change the votes other than what the votes themselves actually say. He's been getting some pressure to throw out votes based on legal reasonings, though nothing's come out of that yet. They have also had an issue where they discovered about 2,600 votes that were not included in the initial tallies because not all of them were uploaded to the data stick. So there is some ballots that didn't show up because people didn't upload the data correctly.
Interesting.
Not a huge amount.
Yeah, that's only 2,600. That's only 2,600 votes. You see what I'm saying? So I mean, I see what's going on, but at the same time, it's like it's still only 2,600. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, and those didn't. Those don't change the vote at all. Even though it's only a 14,000 margin, which is very small for 5 million voters, it still needs a lot more than that to even begin changing it, because the votes weren't just Trump votes. They were just the end of the data upload that got cut off. It wasn't a specific set of ballots that was cut off. It wasn't targeted. It was just a data management problem, probably because the uploader didn't realize, the size difference, is my guess. But okay, so Raffensperger goes on to say he wants to basically why the reason he's doing this hand recount, the audit, is to protect the integrity of mail-in voting. He basically wants people to be able to trust the voting, since there's been issues with the Dominion system that tabulated the votes, and because of course, the national debate about whether Trump is president or if Biden is president-elect or whatever. It's not really a debate, but anyhow, Graham went on to say that if Raffensperger feels threatened by that conversation, he's got a problem, which, that's just from Graham's perspective. And Graham himself denied that he had that conversation, even though he kind of affirms he had the conversation when he answers the questions about it. But Raffensperger goes on to say that he doesn't care about the political party of the people working against him, that he just wants to make sure that the secrecy of the vote is sacred, and that he wants everyone's vote to count. And The last thing Raffensperger went on to say was that I don't think it's helpful when you create doubt in the election process. People might throw up their arms and say, "Why vote?"
Word. Well. What are your thoughts on this, David?
Oh, I kind of agree with him. He did get a lot of heat originally wanting to do the hand recount, the audit, because people were saying it was unnecessary and he was just trying to help Trump out here. And then in the middle of the recount, he's trying to follow the rules. So the Republicans say he's working against Trump and that he doesn't want to look at look at throwing out ballots because they might have had a minor discrepancy with the law or something. He just wants to recount all of the ones that are accepted. And part of the issue is that he doesn't want to recheck all the signatures, which would be maybe impossible, especially if they voted in person and only used their ID. So that's that's not something you can verify everyone with. And that's one of the things that seems to make Lindsey Graham mad, because if they re-verified all of the signatures, that would allow whoever's verifying the signatures to decide again if those votes should count or not, which would give basically whoever's counting the votes the power to throw out Trump or Biden votes if they're biased in that way.
It's interesting because, he is Secretary of State, and he is also, I just want to make this abundantly clear, he is also Republican. And of course, he did the recount because he is Team Trump. He has said that he's on Trump's side. He was trying to make this happen because he wants to see Trump continue. He wants to see Trump stay in office. And look what happened. The votes still came back. The votes still came back leaning towards Biden. They went through them all. I'm sure they found some that were erroneous or sparked some type of, it might have been questionable and whatnot. But he even said, and this is a quote that was also in this article too, and I just wanted to pull this out because I thought it was very interesting. He said, "I'm an engineer. We look at numbers. We look at hard data. I can't help it that a failed candidate like Collins is running around lying to everyone. He is a liar." He is sitting there going, "Hey, I only care about the numbers. I'm looking at the hard facts. I'm looking at the data, or data, however you say it." And he's also a Republican. You don't think that he was hoping to recount those votes to find a gang of them being erroneous, a gang of them being fraudulent? He did exactly what he needed to do. He's Team Trump. He's a Trumper. He's a Trumpster. He's a Trump supporter. However you want to call him. He wants Trump to win, but he did the right thing. He did what he had to do, which is he went through every single vote. They recounted it. They hand counted those votes, only to find out that there was nothing wrong. There was nothing fraudulent about those votes. Now you got Lindsey Graham calling him up, being like, "Hey, man, you think you can, kind of throw a few under the, just kind of toss a few thousand away. You know what I'm saying? Just forget that you even saw those, man. What do you feel?" And he's sitting there going, "No, man. I'm a Boy Scout. I ain't about to do that stuff. The facts are the facts. I'm not about to do anything illegal for your ass, whether I like Trump or not." And these are true stories. This is a true account. And of course, Lindsey Graham is sitting there going, "Well, whatever you said is, he got problems. He crazy then. He crazy, man. He crazy." No, Lindsey Graham doesn't sound like that, I'm sure. That'd be funny if he did. Wouldn't that be funny? Look at him and then he just comes up, "Man, this crazy, man. He crazy, bruh." But here it is. You got somebody who is pro-Trump, that leans hard for Trump, is behind him 110%, says, "I will recount these, no problemo." I will recount these no problemo for you. I will do that because I care and because I want him to win, only to find out that he recounted those things and they still lean towards Biden. Then you also he really had a true test of character if you really think about it, because he could have easily taken that phone call and said, you know what, you right, bruh. I could throw these things away. I could throw these in the trash real quick. I could go and then just crinkle some, scrunch some things up and just throw them in the trash. And he didn't even do that. He's going, no. The American people voted. The right thing to do is to do my civic duty, recount these things, and tell the truth. I mean, I give Raffensperger some serious props. You know what I'm saying? Like, snaps to him, man. Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? That is some serious poetic justice up in this piece. Because he could have easily gone down the other route. He could have gone, well, I lean right anyway. I'm Republican. Let's go. And I love Trump. Let's just make sure that let's throw away a couple thousand. And he didn't do so. Now I understand, David. Is it true that he's getting death threats now?
Yeah, he's received texts from unknown numbers and also it was a letter, I believe, or a note of some sort that said that his life depends on this election, which is suggesting that his life depends on changing the election, I would think, since all he wants to do is like you were saying, he just wants to keep it straight and narrow. He just wants to recount the ballots. He doesn't want to try and re-verify signatures. He doesn't want to reopen the election to accept or reject different ballots. He just wants to count the ones that were already accepted, and also the ones that showed up from the data loss. Those are part of the count now, and that's all he wants to do. The votes that were supposed to be counted, he just wants to hand recount every single one of those. He doesn't want to do anything that might change what votes he has. He doesn't want to change the policies. He doesn't want to, go back to every voter and question if their vote is valid. He just wants to count the ones that were already considered valid. And that's not what these Republicans seem to want, is the other Republicans seem to want. They want him to open up those things. They want him to find ways to throw out ballots. They want him to open up the discussion about changing which votes count. But he just wants to count the ones that were already legally valid, and he doesn't want to worry about that aspect. And that's very reasonable, because his whole point in starting was to verify the integrity of the machines, to say that the tabulation was correct, or that the error was so small it doesn't change the election. And that's what he's focusing on. And if he starts doing those other things, you're going to change the numbers of votes, and that's not going to have any effect on us knowing if the Dominion voting system is effective or not.
Yeah. And that's what's so crazy, because you got people out here that are, you got Trump out here, for example, that are, still sitting here saying that he won by a lot. He still swears that he won by a lot. And even if there were 2,600, as I said in that article, 2,600 that were, tabulated or put in wrong, or they're erroneous, still just 2,600. And I don't remember how much Biden won by, what his lead was, but there was quite a gap as far as it was still very, very tight. It was still a very, very tight election. But at the same time, 2,600 was not going to change the outcome at all. Even if they throw those out, still doesn't matter. Biden still ends up winning. So it wouldn't even help him. Yeah, sure. Right. They might be a little, those tabulations and those votes might have been entered in wrong, but that's about it. That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. So I give Raffensperger serious props because he's doing exactly he's doing exactly what he needs to be doing, which is doing his civic duty, doing his job, and being honest and being truthful. And I give that guy serious props.
Pascal, you are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.